The diner was nearly empty, just the way I liked it during my night shifts. The hum of the neon sign outside, the occasional clatter of silverware against a plate, the rhythmic tick of the clock above the register, all of it made for an oddly comforting routine. That night started like any other. The regulars had filtered out by 2 a.m., leaving only me behind the counter and a lone man in the corner booth, nursing a black coffee that he hadn't touched in over an hour. He was quiet, barely moving, his long fingers tracing slow, deliberate circles on the table. I tried not to stare, but something about him unsettled me. His clothes were just slightly outdated, the kind you'd see in old photographs, buttoned too tight at the collar, fabric slightly yellowed with age, and his face, pale, almost waxy, with dark eyes that didn't blink nearly enough. At around 3 a.m., the bell above the door jingled. I turned, expecting another late-night trucker, or someone needing a place to sober up. Instead, a woman walked in. Or at least, I thought she was a woman. She was tall and thin, too thin, her limbs moving with an odd stiffness, like a marionette being tugged along by invisible strings. Her hair hung limp over her face, masking her features. She didn't approach the counter, didn't acknowledge me at all. Instead, she walked straight to the man in the booth and stood there, silent. The air in the diner seemed to shift, growing thick, heavy. I swallowed hard. "Can I get you something, ma'am?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay steady. She didn't answer. The man in the booth slowly lifted his head, his gaze meeting hers own. He smiled. It was a slow, unnatural stretch of his lips, as if the muscles in his face were learning how to move for the first time. The woman responded by tilting her head in an unnatural jerk, her hair slipping back slightly. What I saw beneath it made my stomach drop. Her face, if you could call it that, was stretched and wrong, as though someone had taken human features and rearranged them. Her mouth was too wide, her eyes sunken, her skin grayish and taut over her bones. I took a step back, my pulse hammering in my ears. The man stood up without breaking eye contact with her, and then, as if on cue, every light in the diner flickered and went out. Darkness swallowed the room. I fumbled for my phone, my fingers trembling as I turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, sweeping wildly across the diner. They were gone. The booth was empty. No sign of either of them. Just the untouched coffee and a deep, lingering cold that settled into my bones. I barely had time to catch my breath before I heard it. The sound of the door creaking open. Slowly. I turned the light toward the entrance, expecting to see someone walking out. Instead, the door was open just enough to show the pitch-black night outside. The neon sign flickered erratically, casting long, twitching shadows across the floor. And then, footsteps. Not outside. Not walking away. They were coming closer. From behind me, I spun around, my breath caught in my throat. The flashlight trembled in my grasp as I swept it across the diner. The booths were empty. The counter was just as I'd left it. But the kitchen door, the one that led to the storage room and the back exit, was slowly swinging shut. I hadn't heard it open. My legs felt rooted to the spot, but every nerve in my body screamed at me to move. My feet finally obeyed. carrying me toward the kitchen, though every step felt like I was wading through thick molasses. My hand reached for the door, my fingers trembling as they pressed against the cold metal surface. I pushed it open. The kitchen was dark, save for the faint glow of the emergency light near the back. The room smelled of grease and old coffee. The exit door stood closed, the handle gleaming under the dim light. Then, something shifted. A soft scrape, like a shoe sliding against tile. I jerked the flashlight toward the noise, the beam catching movement near the supply shelves. A shadow, impossibly tall, stretched unnaturally against the wall. My pulse pounded as I backed away slowly, my mind racing. A whisper, faint and breathy, slithered through the room. "Watch me!" The words were barely audible, but they sent a bolt of terror through me. I turned and bolted, shoving it through the swinging door, nearly slipping as I ran for the front of the diner. The neon light flickered violently now, casting the room in eerie flashes of red and white. I reached the entrance, my shaking hands fumbling with the lock. The reflection in the glass made my stomach lurch. The man and the woman stood just behind me. I didn't turn around. I didn't breathe. I wrenched the door open and sprinted outside, the cold night air hitting me like a wall. My car was parked just a few feet away, but the distance felt endless. My footsteps pounded against the pavement as I fumbled with my keys, every second stretching unbearably long. I threw myself into the car, locking the doors in a frenzy. My breath came in ragged gasps as I dared one final glance toward the diner. The door was shut. The neon sign buzzed, steady again. Inside, the booths were empty. The counter was just as I had left it, like nothing had ever happened. But I knew better. I turned the key in the ignition with trembling hands, peeling out of the parking lot without looking back. I never went back to that diner. I never even drove past it again. Some nights, though, when I'm alone in my apartment, I hear it, that whisper. "Watch me."